Okay, can everyone still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Then let's go ahead and dive right on in. When last we left off, you had just discovered the ritual that they'd used in ancient Sumer to banish Pthallech somewhere out into apparently too close space to hear. The St. Celestine is disabled as the Arpactic. The captain has lost a finger. Crew members are seeing things, and there's a rust monster prowling the hallways of at least one of these ships. So, Adele, yeah, you in combination, because Doctor, you were the one doing the actual research, yes?
Correct.
Okay. So between the two of you, you looked at what you'd found, and were able to suss out the general shape of what needs to be done. There's a ritual that needs to be started at sunset. There is a circle, a ritual circle with various symbology that needs to be drawn before then, helpfully sketched for you in the records you found. And you read the sort of the original inscription that was translated for the journal entry you discovered. And attached were some notes that elaborated on some of what it was referring to and explained that the three sacred stones are lodestone, quartz, and bronze. The three mortal essences are blood, flesh, and bone. The two prophets are a priest and a king. Those components do not come in the handy packet of information like the circle does. You're on your own for all of that.
In our notes somewhere. So there was.
Yeah, I don't know if I got that on that sheet.
What did you say? Lodestone quartz?
Lodestone, quartz, and bronze.
Blood, flesh, bone.
Yep.
And then a priest and a king?
Priest and a king, yep.
Those six should be easy enough to come by, but I only know like one king, so.
I mean, they don't let women become priests, but I know a lot of prayers and stuff in Latin.
In the sacred text, does it have priest parentheses S?
It does not. But you also have to bear in mind, this is translated from ancient Sumerian, and there are plenty of spots in the text where there are question marks, certainly next to some proper nouns, and in the rest of the information along with it. You gotta be, I mean, certain things are probably pretty set, like a lodestone is a lodestone 6,000 years ago and now. What a priest or a king is depends a lot on the culture. So what the Sumerians meant when they wrote down priest and king versus what the translator meant when he or she wrote down priest or king versus what the spell actually requires. There's only really one way to find out.
Well, we could see if there's a chaplain on board, and I don't know what we do about a king.
I mean, I know who's king of the ship.
I suppose.
And he's low on flesh and blood, so if he's going to be involved, it's going to have to be that way.
Well,
I highly doubt there's lodestone on board.
Hey, Doc, did you keep that finger in a baggie somewhere?
I don't know if it counts anymore.
There's definitely some flesh, bone, and blood in that.
Unless it's copper, rusted iron, something.
No, we should see if it turned to something.
I've been waiting for the heat to die down, as it were, since we're
but theoretically, there's bone in it still.
There'll certainly be bronze on the boat. A lot of instruments are made of bronze. Quartz. Watch. Lodestone and a compass.
I don't know what a lodestone is.
I Highly
I
doubt
can
we're
guarantee you
banishing
Adele has loads of quartz.
That's true. All the crystals. There's going to be a lot of quartz. Okay.
So we're huddled right now talking about how we're going to do this.
Yeah, I assume. I'd say at this point, given they started pretty early, but you've done kind of a lot over the course of the day, up to and including digging through 6 crates worth of information to dig up this particular information. It's probably early evening. I wouldn't expect, unless you had an incredibly lucky brainwave and found something, that sunset is an available start time. Today's sunset is available too.
Can
And the next
can Adele make a history roll to try and derive what a king may mean in modern terms?
yeah, like what can work.
Sure. Let's see. Would that be? Let me check our skills list here and see if history is going to be the best fit.
And I see anthropology.
Yeah, anthropology is going to be a better bet.
Yeah, but I have a 1 in anthropology and a 57 in history.
Well, that is.
Have I made a compelling argument? Or occult. This is an occult occurrence. And who has the magical juju needed? I won a game of chess once. I got kinged. Does that make me a king?
I'll let you. Okay, you can make a hard occult roll instead of anthropology, and try and come at it from the what would work for this kind of spell angle, as opposed to what they actually historically thought.
Barbane.
Nice. Yeah. So you don't know what the ancient Sumerians would have meant when they said priest and a king, but you know that for most spell work, it's more a matter of symbology for this kind of thing than anything else. So if you could find something that people would think of and would look at and say, well, that's a king, or that they would look at and say, well, that's a priest, that could well work. And it's probably not even that specific in terms of king. Like a king or a president or supreme leader or emperor or whatever would probably fit that same role. And similarly for the priest, you don't imagine it makes a difference if we're talking deacon, priest, witch doctor, shaman, bishop, the pope, imam, what would be recognized by at least the practitioners involved as a holy man.
And this is an actual person that we need, or an object representing that person?
You're not sure. You're pretty sure that a person would work. You're not certain that an object wouldn't if it was a good enough representation.
I mean, you got some tarot cards, right?
You got that
I mean,
rosary?
This is part of His Majesty's Navy, right? There's bound to be a picture of literal King George somewhere.
That's true. Well,
And
I
you've
mean,
got a rosary.
This isn't. The St. Celestine isn't. The Arpactic is.
Yeah.
who's going back there for a picture of the king?
Having forgotten all the horrible things that happened over there, I can go get one.
Yep. Sure can. You also don't know where anything is on that ship, but that's okay. You can explore it again.
So, are we going to be able to pull this off tonight still?
No.
Okay.
Say that's it. If we had everything, maybe we don't have everything.
Right.
So I will note the other thing that I'll give you on the occult roll, because I want to give you the chance to fix it, is bronze and brass are not the same thing.
Yeah, I
was it?
kind of hoping that would
Oh, it was bronze. Shoot.
slide by. Ancient swords.
Does anybody have
A
what
metal
sciences do people have?
sort- Black. I mean,
Science any. That's it. Would like a medal? Do you think their medals would be made of bronze since they're military men? If somebody had a medal over there, or would that
Yeah.
be brass?
maybe. I mean, there might be bronze medals. That's what I was thinking.
But bronze is used.
An award, a plaque.
Sorry, I had that backwards. Bronze is not used to make copper. Copper is used to make bronze.
Yep. Copper and tin,
Yeah.
which I am willing to throw out there as just a piece of trivia that one of you would know.
Yeah.
Do they use bronze on ships at all?
No, but
I'm thinking it'd be more decorative than anything else, so we can ask. We'll have to ask around for bronze.
at the same time, if they don't have any, there's going to be copper jackets on bullets, and everything is in tins, right? This is British.
Do they have a smelting forge or whatever it
Well,
is you need?
part of why we used all that stuff way back in the day was because it was actually easy to melt with fire.
You know the ratio?
No,
We got luck though.
have some luck to burn.
So if we found a picture of the king, you've got a rosary. That could check off those boxes, perhaps. We can find blood, bone, and flesh easily enough, I'm sure. And then that leaves the metals. Katie has quartz. And then
we
we
can find
need
a lodestone.
Compass.
which
and
is
a
what,
compass.
a magnet
Yeah,
and a compass.
Well, lodestone
Maybe.
technically is naturally occurring magnetic ore.
right. What's in a compass could have been just magnetized.
Yeah, magnetized steel or something.
Which
In a meteorite, which fell not too long ago.
I know, we dived to the bottom of the ocean.
Or it
Yeah,
could be
oh, yes.
part of the monsters running around.
We'll ask him if he has any lodestones to banish him with.
Well, I know Denny's good at blasting things. And he has no fear because he doesn't really know what he's blasting, so... Can I roll persuasion?
you can roll whatever you want.
I don't even think I have that. Can I check the state of the finger that I took from the captain?
Sure. Where
we
have you been
looking?
keeping it?
In my hand.
Good.
No, in a jar in my hand. I did specify in a jar last session.
Fair enough. Yeah, you look at it. As you found with the previous corpses, the bone looks, at least from the severed end, looks like bone. The rest of it is looking a lot less like flesh than you feel like it should, and what used to be blood that had pooled out of it has just turned into powdered rust in the jar.
Awesome. We should probably check on the captain and make sure we stopped whatever we were trying to stop.
Yeah, we'll check on the captain. We'll also see if he knows what's in the compass. And, then if he's
And what's
got-
in the cargo, because this is a cargo ship after all. Maybe they're just carrying everything we need here.
Yeah, see if we can get the manifest and say, look, we got to get some things put together. We need bronze, and we need a lodestone, proper lodestone.
And then some flesh, blood, and bone.
That we can do our.
I mean, kind of like our onboard occult library, we may also have some occult items that we were sent with that may have some of this weird, like an ancient bronze artifact.
Fair enough. So, I mean, do you think it wise that we split in 2 groups of 2?
So Adele can't look in the research. right? The boxes. She's traumatized from that.
Not until tomorrow.
Right.
So how about she and the doctor check on the captain, and you and I go look through?
The doctor is better at library research than either of us are. Right?
Oh, I thought we were just looking for like trinkets and stuff in the cargo.
Oh, I guess so.
I mean, we've done all the research.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, definitely check on the.
If you're searching through the occult library for trinkets that might be directly applicable here, that's just going to be a luck roll to see if Elias would have collected anything like that. It'll probably be a hard luck roll, and to the extent you want a metagame, it'll be the lowest to whoever's searching, because you're both rolled through the boxes. But in terms of what's on the ship, digging through, since it's not feasible for you to just paw through everything and hope, that's going to be looking at the manifest, talking to the captain, getting him to let you look at the manifest and seeing what's all there.
Yeah, why don't we all go up and talk to the captain first, and then us two will hopefully go find a specific crate that might be helpful.
But he may have a bronze medal or something like that before we even have to paw through.
Sure.
So, yeah, let's just all
the captain then.
Captain. And maybe explain to him why we need all this stuff. And tell him.
All this hinges on the fact that the captain
ritual?
isn't just a statue right now, also.
Yeah. Let's go up there first.
So, yeah.
All right, so
Also, I don't
where are you headed
trust
to try
the
and
sailor
find
that
him?
we left him with. We left him up in the captain's quarter, or the officer's quarters, or just above that. What's that called?
I think it was
bridge.
we were in
Bridge.
Yeah, the bridge.
That
To the
said,
bridge.
the captain is not a desk lamp. It's possible he's not where you left him.
Right.
I left a highly trustworthy seaman.
Absolutely. So you do go to the bridge, and as it turns out, the captain is in fact there, kind of up on the forward edge of the bridge, sort of looking out the forward windows, just out at the fog-covered sea as the sun is sort of setting and it's getting, darker. You can see on your way there, you can see sailors are going around lighting kerosene lamps and hanging them at points around the ship to provide some illumination. It's not a lot, but it's better than nature dark in the fog at sea. But yeah, you get up there. Captain is standing there, turns around. As you come in, you see the sailor you sort of co-opted earlier, slouched on a low chair up against a bulkhead, just kind of sitting there, arms crossed over his chest, eyes half closed, but facing the captain at least. To the extent his eyes are open, he's looking at the captain. But Captain Wainwright turns to you and... Aye? What can I do for you this time? Come to cut off more bits of me?
So the first thing I'm going to do is pull that jar out to show him what could have been and what we've saved him from. And say, I don't think we have to, but look what we saved you from.
He takes a half step back. I suppose I've got you to thank then. He kind of pulls his sleeve back, looks at his hand, skin above the bandage. You can tell he's caught by surprise when he looks at the jar, so you imagine he hasn't actually felt anything, but now he's a little paranoid. And you get a good look at his skin there too. And you catch a couple scars that he probably has from just a life spent at sea, but you don't immediately see any other obvious spots or streaks of rust climbing his arm. Looks like cutting off the finger either arrested or at least dramatically slowed down the progress of whatever it is.
Nice. So I'm going to let you guys do the talking. I'm going to get to changing bandages for him.
So Denny will say, okay, so we've got a plan, and it's...
What do you remember right now, Benny? What did you have amnesia about? Is it just the encounter?
The monster
It was
thing.
everything before the ship.
Yep. He doesn't
Or
remember
everything
getting
on
on
the
the ship. Remembers everything up to getting on the ship, and then everything after
Oh.
that encounter with the monster. Everything in the middle.
So maybe
In that
Lois
case,
talks.
Says, why aren't we going?
Getting on this ship, like at the very beginning of the voyage?
Yep. Because it's from the last point of safety, and that would be the last time. Now that Denny has seen what's going on, the last time Denny would have identified as just safe was before getting on board the St. Celestine.
Okay. So, Denny, you're not any help right now.
Nope.
All right. Okay,
mean-
so
We can assume that you spent some time sort of filling them in, so you've got
yeah.
like sort of a timeline event, but you don't have the memory of the events. It's like something you read in a book, which is not quite as good as having internalized the experience in terms of utility.
Something as good as internalizing it. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So we've got basically, so all that stuff is magic. Now we've got to come up with sort of a magic solution for the magic problem. And it's going to require some ingredients. And Adele here is going to cast a magic spell and hopefully we'll fix this problem.
She
You gotta
sales.
Captain kind of looks at you. Now I know you land-bound types think of sailors as a superstitious lot. And you're not wrong, if I'm honest.
I mean, a lot of you thinks, Catholics are a superstitious lot too, so we've got that in common.
Alright. That doesn't mean I believe in witchcraft and sorcery and the power of magic to save everyone.
The doctor, while he's dressing bandages, will kind of... He had set the finger down on the table behind him or some flat surface,
Sure.
and will nod back and say, I'm not entirely convinced this is magic-based. I think there's a perfectly suitable answer for this. I don't know what it is, but our best shot here is something we dug up in our library that we brought with us. All those boxes that you brought on for us. They
What
have
did
the
you
answer.
find in your library that has to do with this?
Well, those fellas that were on the ship that died, they wrote a name in blood on the engine room wall. We found that name in some of these files. These files pertain to, let's say, sort of otherworldly demons that sometimes come and interfere with our life here. And some demon, I'm not going to even say his name, here's written it down, or I can show him this is this
Sure.
paper referring to this demon. There's apparently a way to send it back to wherever it came from. And we got to try that. Because, maybe there's a scientific, an antidote to all this, but, there's literally a monster made of rust running around. If that's not a demon, I don't know what is. So, we gotta try this. And we need your help to get some of these components together. And if that doesn't work, well, we can try something else. But I feel like we're running out of time here. We gotta try whatever we gotta try.
Well, what does this all involve?
Hold on a second. Good night. All right. So here's the ingredients to make this cake. We need 3 stones. So we need quartz. Our friend Adele's got quartz. We need lodestone and bronze. I was wondering if you've got anything made of bronze that you could let us use. You got a medal, you got a bell, you've got a award, I don't know, something made of bronze, statue, knick-knack. And then a lodestone, magnet,
kind of looks off to the side and up a little bit, clearly thinking. Bronze. There might be something. There might be some bronze fittings on the engines. I'm not the engineer. I'm not positive of that.
All right, I'll check with them.
There may. The Arpactic's a limey ship. They had their navy handed out actual bronze medals. We're merchant marine. We don't go in much for medals at all, bronze or otherwise. That's a possibility. It's all I can think of. Lodestone, though. A magnet we could do. We've got some motors. We've got some compasses. Magnets, definitely. Lodestone. Don't know. I don't have one. It needs to be a lodestone, not just a magnet, eh?
It says lodestone.
Is there? Denny's gonna say, can I look at the manifest? I'm not interested. I don't want to leave with any of it, but just something that we can use to get out of this ridiculous mess.
Kind of rocks back on his heels. What would you say the odds are of this solving the problem?
Denny's gonna say, well, according to the journals we've gotten from the other ship, the odds are way better than the odds of trying to shoot it or burn it or swim away from it. Which those are the only other things I can come up with. And those apparently failed catastrophically.
I'd say this is our only shot. And we need to get this all together by sunset tomorrow evening.
You can look through the manifest.
Or if you want to look through it instead, that's fine. You can keep whatever privacy for your customers. That it doesn't cause me any trouble. I just need to know if there's something we can use.
Sure.
We won't even ask you for the other ingredients: blood, flesh, and bone. We'll figure that one. We'll figure those ones out ourselves.
That we brought.
You've already had enough of that off me, haven't you?
Too bad it's not flesh and blood anymore, right?
Fair.
Yeah.
All right. And I'll send you to find Anthony Goldenberg. Chief Quartermaster keeps the manifest. He'll be able to coordinate with one of the loaders to identify where things are if you need to open them. But he'll be the one who can show you the manifest, at least. And I'll trust you to take him with you should you need to open anything. Not that I don't trust all you all implicitly, to be sure, but you're rummaging through the privates and valuables of me customers.
Understood.
Captain, you don't have to happen to have a picture of the king on board, do you? And Doc kind of chuckles.
Any king will do.
No kings, lad. No kings of the sea.
Anyone got a picture of the Pope on board? I mean, I left mine at home next to my picture of Jesus and the Virgin Mary and, St. Anthony, just because, he's the best. But Pope picture? Any Catholics on board?
I'm sure we've got some papists, but I haven't asked. You can ask around, maybe.
Alrighty.
Well, hopefully we'll find something, because otherwise you're the closest thing we got to a king on board.
What do you need the king to do?
And I'm not sure.
I think we just stand around.
Hopefully just be there.
Yeah, it's more of a symbolic thing than anything else.
But it'll be fine if we find a picture or something. That'll be okay. Otherwise, you're in.
Okay.
And then is there a chaplain on board too? Because I guess, yeah,
Aye.
that would be the alternative. All right.
Is it a king chaplain?
Kill two birds, man. What's the chaplain's name? Do you have that offhand?
Chaplain is one Bernard Westlake. You might want to be careful how you talk to him about this. He's a fairly religious sort. I expect he'll think sorcery has more to do with hell.
More to do with what?
Hell. The
You keep chopping out there.
You're blowing up the threshold.
Sorry.
You're good.
Okay.
More to do with hell than what?
Anything holy.
I mean, yeah, I agree. This thing definitely needs to get sent back to hell. Yeah, maybe a picture of the Pope would be better. Picture of the Pope, picture of the King. Arrange a little rocks. Drizzle some blood on top. Yeah, I don't think the chaplain would maybe want to be there for that.
Sounds like a heavenly concoction.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on how far you can make these definitions stretch. I'm the king of this ship, as 'twere. I can also perform marriages.
Hint, hint.
Yeah, I don't.
All right.
I don't
So,
know that
yeah.
rituals like a try it and see if it works, and then just replace one thing with another, and then try it again like 50 times.
Well, it's got to happen at sunset, so if we mess up the first night, we got to wait another day to try it again, probably. I wonder what we need to draw that circle with, too, if it matters. We're going to need something to draw a big old circle on your deck with.
You didn't see anything in any of the documents that indicated it mattered what it was drawn in.
Okay.
Doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't matter, but you didn't get that information from the journal.
I'm sure we could find some charcoal or something.
Paint.
Things get burnt here a lot. Paint, yeah.
Okay, so we need to check with the quartermaster, see if we can find some of those components, and then I'll check with the engine room, see if there are any brass fittings down there.
The quartermaster probably knows who the most religious crew member is too. Maybe they've got some paraphernalia if we don't want to go visit the chaplain.
Yeah, he may just denounce us and start a whole riot on the ship. Maybe we want to avoid that.
Go to the quartermaster, I suppose.
Alright, and I'll go to the engine room.
In redressing the captain, did I see any further spread of, under the wrappings or anything?
Roll medicine for me.
Sure.
Nothing obvious, no.
Okay. Good enough for me. So first stop is the chaplain then. Or sorry, the
we're going to
quartermaster.
avoid the chaplain.
The quartermaster, I suppose.
All right. So
Okay.
head down looking for the chief quartermaster. You have to ask a couple people, direct you below decks, and then forward to forwardmost cargo hold. And eventually you find him, or he's pointed out to you. Average height, average build, sort of olive-skinned gentleman. Bit of a bald spot, bit of a widow's peak. Turns to look at you. He's got a kind of a permanent squint. Yeah, Yeah, you're here to see me. See me?
Oh yeah, the captain sent us. He said that you'd help us find some things in the cargo manifest. Got a bit of emergency, and we might, find
Manifest.
something.
All right. Just wait one. He kind of shambles off to one side of the room. You can see along what's the port bulkhead of this cargo area. There's a desk with a chair and some like shelving units bolted to the wall with some boxes on them. He goes up to one of the boxes, hauls it off, dumps it on the desk, pulls the top off, starts rifling through the contents, eventually pulls out a sheet of paper, maybe a half inch or so thick, comes walking back to you holding it out. There you go, here's the manifest. Carrying a lot of stuff. You know, I can't say I know everything that we got on board right now off the top of my head, but I've at least read it. You tell me what you're looking for. Maybe able to point you in the right direction.
All right. A lodestone.
I don't know what that is.
Magnetic ore.
Ah. Oh, you mean like just a rock but magnetic?
Yeah, that's the one.
Huh. Yeah, I can't say I recall seeing that. How you spell lodestone?
Lode stone.
Huh. I don't recall seeing that word at least. We got some collections of what they called whatchamacallits, souvenirs and such. Stuff we're transporting for private citizens, not strictly import. Suppose there could be something like that in there. Don't really know. I don't open those crates. Yeah, I point you to those.
Captain said that we could open them if you're there with us.
Sure,
You know,
can do that.
should we're not handling the cargo. The other thing we were looking for is anything made of bronze.
Bronze.
Yeah. Sometimes it's, metals.
I used
knick-knack.
to use that like back in ancient times, right? Like thousands of years ago.
They named a whole age after it.
Oh yeah. Not just a clever name then. Huh.
Mm.
All right.
It was third age.
We've got a couple sets of stuff bound for the British Museum. Some kind of ancient history stuff. Probably do have detailed contents of that, though that'll be attached to the goods themselves. This is just where to find the boxes and sort of a top level what's in them. The detail will be out on the containers themselves. I don't know. I don't know how ancient you got to go for there to be bronze. I don't know how ancient the stuff in there is, but bronze is ancient. That's ancient. Figure it might help.
All right, if there's detailed manifests,
Yeah.
once we get to these, either the private collection stuff or the museum stuff.
Well, the private
we go-
collection may or may not.
Right.
Not up to me. I'm not
Museum.
museum pieces, absolutely. Those are going permanent import. They're real picky about that kind of thing. Not so much if it's just, somebody shipping their private goods for their vacation or what have you. I don't know.
Do the private goods have anything about where they're coming from?
Yeah, I mean, it'll tell you who shipped them at least. Sometimes there'll be more on there, but that'll be pretty much up to the person shipping them. Like, only real reason to put it on there is if they need to get contacted. Gets lost at sea. Of course, you gotta wonder, gets lost at sea, how you're gonna read the return address, right? Got me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if it shows up at the far port, they can't find what to do with it. Or, there's something in there ain't supposed to be in there. Somebody's going to get in trouble, and you need to know who to get in trouble. So, there's that. Of course, that's why not everyone puts where it came from on the stuff. It's really not my department.
I mean, I think the British Museum stuff is probably
so
the best place to start.
British Museum stuff, and then while we're headed there and while we start opening them up, Denny's going to be looking at all of the names, all of the information that's listed for the private goods to see if there's anything that could be coming from anywhere that has ruins, anything that could be old things, if they're coming from Rome, if they're coming from Egypt, anything weird, anything that isn't just like I was in Paris or whatever, anything like that would be better.
So, I mean, what you see in the manifest in front of you is just sort of their port of origin, which in all their cases is New York.
Right.
You can't derive much from that. Potentially, for the ones that have a little bit more detail listed as to who's doing the shipping, and most of them have some contact information, but a lot of them are just shipping companies. Just here's a point of contact. It doesn't tell you anything about who actually shipped it. Presumably the shipping company might have that information, but the manifest doesn't. There are some, though, that were shipped. The contract was directly with the St. Celestine, not through a third party. There are some names attached to those. You could give me history or archaeology roll to see if any of those names are people you have heard of or recognize in some way. And whoever else is here with you could do the same thing.
Okay.
Golly. I think we need some Adele intervention on the history situation.
I mean, we're likely going to have to just go through these crates anyway, but let's start with what we got with the museum stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 57 in history, and I can go through the crates because they don't count as the library.
Yeah, the crates that aren't part of the collection you're bringing aren't part of the library. You can absolutely go through those. And at this point, it's just looking through the manifest to see if with history you recognize any of the names as anybody who'd be more likely to be shipping from a noteworthy archaeological dig site or something.
Right. Some jet-setting playboy that you've read about in People magazine.
Can I roll for that as well then?
Absolutely.
Damn.
So
I'm gonna push it.
Adele pops her spectacles on and takes another look.
Right. I'm keep muting and unmuting myself so you don't get the echo of Matt's mic as well. Ah, man. Not my night.
Yeah. You're very distracted. You don't recognize the name of any archaeologist. You do recognize the name of one of your fiance's friends.
What does that mean?
Oh. What does it mean?
Mean.
Charlie's in one of the boxes.
What's in the box, Matt? What's in the box? I want to go through that box.
Matt's literally just trying to crater his own reputation with role-playing games with his wife by by murdering a poor helpless goblin and also her fake husband. All right, well, let's start with those crates from the museum. Let's see what we got.
And Adele can totally go and snoop into whoever that dude's crate is, too. So now I'm kind of curious. And I kind of want to find Charlie's head.
Sure.
Sorry.
So you're heading to Ship and Dimension Goods crate first?
Yep.
Cool. So, the Chief Quartermaster Goldenberg leads you back through the forward hold, up onto deck, and then down another ladder to the aft hold, and kind of walks you through a little bit of a maze of just piles of stuff. Some of it crated, some of it in bags, some large stuff just rolled up, some piles of misshapen things just under tarps. It's all a bit of a dog's breakfast, as it were. Eventually gets you all the way aft up against the aftmost bulkhead and kind of points at a stack of stuff. Says, yeah, in there, their crate, sort of a long thing, a couple feet tall, probably about 8 feet long, 3 feet wide. Fortunately, it's kind of at the bottom and the back of that pile, but you're, welcome to help yourself.
Denny, seeing something that he can be good at, is quick to starting to move items around. But as he's taking boxes and bags and things off the top, he's checking their tags and whatnot just to see what it is he's moving in the meantime.
Sure. You're moving stuff off, and for the most part, it's not too bad. Every now and again, you do enlist the help of somebody else to move a particularly, unwieldy or heavy item. As you're looking at what they are, nothing in particular leaps out at you. It's a bunch of, not random certainly, but relatively miscellaneous stuff. The most noteworthy thing, there's one long, rolled up carpet that somebody is shipping. You can kind of get a glance inside. It doesn't even look particularly nice. Like, you're not a carpet expert, but you'd expect it to have some kind of pattern or something to be worth shipping across the Atlantic. It doesn't. Looks like it's just a color.
It doesn't look like this?
It does not. At least as far as you can tell, you're looking into it from one end, so you're not getting a real look at it, but...
That's saying it's not.
Probably not.
It's a nice fine carpet. Finally.
Couple sacks of stuff that you move out of the way. One of them is full of metal scrap. It kind of clinks and feels sort of misshapen. You don't really want to open it without needing to, but you can't help but sort of feel through the sides of the sack, and it doesn't... It's just kind of clanking, and it has odd shapes you can't make out.
Yeah, I'll try and keep track of that just in case.
Yeah, we are kind of looking for some metal.
Right.
Till you finally get to the crate the quartermaster indicated. And there it is, just sitting there as described. You can see it has British Museum stenciled on each of the sides. And on top, stapled to it is a detailed list of the contents.
All right. Let's see what we got.
All right.
We'll keep reading through the lists.
Yeah. Denny will start opening it just in hopes that there's going to be something worth digging into.
Sure.
I'd be reading, I guess.
With Quartermaster's help, it's easy enough to pry the top off. And just about the time, Lois, that you get to the part of the detailed manifest that catches your eye is also caught, Denny. You're kind of looking through the stuff in the crate, and you see what looks like a bronze helmet.
Perfect. Then he puts it on. Or attempts to. It's probably small.
You do have a large head.
I'm no longer getting your audio.
Mic check.
Sorry.
No.
That feedback was me.
Okay.
He's lying. It was farts.
You do tiny ones.
Anything?
Mic check.
Oh, there we go. Okay, I got something again. Cool.
We back?
Yes.
All right. So, great to find the helmet. That's awesome. We're going to keep looking in this crate, keep going through the manifest to see if there's anything that might be
Lodestone.
like anything that could be a lodestone that's referenced as a magic rock or whatever.
Sure. Because, yeah, you're
Well,
looking
there's
in the detailed manifest, and it doesn't list anything as lodestone.
Right.
But yeah, keep looking through the crate. Take you a little bit. While you're doing that, anybody else doing anything of note we want to address?
Yeah, if Denny found that metal sack, I would have reached out, the doctor would have reached out and grabbed it, and he's kind of thumbing through that now.
Alright.
Slowly, so he's not cutting his hands open or anything crazy.
Sure.
And that wasn't a museum sack, right?
Nope.
That was.
I'd like to remind everybody that we still have our gloves on.
My glove got broken.
She has one
Yeah,
glove.
you're
Jacksoning your way through.
Yep. Yeah, the critical fumble did cost you a glove. I'd say sorry, but I'm not. So, the doctor opens this sack, and you look into it, and it looks like a variety of just steel machine parts. There's some stuff you recognize, like there are bolts and nuts and washers. Other pieces that are less obvious to you. There's one like disc that's a couple inches across and about 1.5 inches thick, with a hole drilled partially into one face of it. Couple longish, like 12 inches, just rods of steel, handful of ball bearings in various sizes.
I'd hold that up and say, Lois, do you know what this is?
Roll mechanical repair.
You don't even need to.
Okay.
The pieces he holds up to you that he can't identify, you recognize one of them is a piston face. You had the rods, I mean, they're metal rods, it could be a number of things, but plus the piston face, they could be push rods. Yeah, you suspect that all of this will ultimately become a part of a piston engine. You can see he holds up a couple two-part spindle bearings. They all
These
look
are for-
like
It's not for the ship or anything. It's not spare parts for the ship.
they don't look sized for what you'd expect for the ship. They look consistent with gasoline-fired internal combustion engine. That said, automotive engines aren't the only things that use pistons, race bearings, push rods, ball bearing. I mean, they're machine parts, but you can recognize all of them as things that you could plausibly find a place for them.
The doctor will semi-quietly say, Lois, no chance you can build us a boat off this hellhole.
Did you read what happened the last time someone made a boat to get out of the hellhole?
Yeah, but that one wasn't fired up by a combustion engine. And he'll keep sifting, and then eventually put everything back in the sack and close it back up and set it off to the side.
I'm not going to get into a little boat in this big old ocean. That's crazy.
Not yet.
I think while we're looking in this museum stuff, we could maybe see if they got some statues or pictures of kings or priests or something in there too. Some Pope Pius gear.
Would we know the king?
It would probably say something like
that's true.
Louis XIV on it or something. Yeah. If someone's got a lot of numbers and letters after their name, they're probably either a king or a pope.
True.
Podsmith the Seventh, a regular guy.
Average Joe the Third.
Bonus if it's after Nazi Paul or something.
So there isn't anything obvious on the detailed manifest. There isn't anything there that says, icon of King so-and-so or statuette of high priest of whatever. You do find in the crate itself, you find a couple small figurines, statuettes, carved stone representations of people. They're clearly very old. Old enough that either they predate or they've worn down too much to be recognizable as individual people. They could represent kings or priests or both or neither.
Are they magnetic?
Not as far as you can tell.
I have a 35 in archaeology if it helps to inspect these items.
We're the tribe, probably.
Sure. You know archaeology.
I can't get effed again. I'm going to try one more time. Where's it? I'm going to have a mortal fear of libraries, archaeological dig sites.
So close.
Refocus.
Oh my god.
Adele was getting embarrassed at letting the team down, so she splashed some cold water on her face and focused.
Nicely done. So you look at those statuettes, and you're actually able to date those back to ancient Babylon. And you can't be 100% certain. The context a thing is found in archaeology is often just as important as the thing itself, and the context here is sort of missing. You found it after it's been removed from the site. But based on other things you've seen and other research you've read on ancient Babylon, you suspect the statuettes are, in fact, representative of high priests, for lack of a better word, relatively high-ranking holy men in Babylon.
Nice.
It's a score.
reassembling the pile, you hear a thud from behind the bulkhead, and a fine, sifting powder of rust drifts down from overhead.
Everybody's still got their face covers, right? The doctor, as he sees it sprinkling around, is going to look around and cover his face.
Where's Goldenberg or whatever his name was?
Oh boy.
Is he still around?
Yeah, he's standing there,
with us. Okay.
kind of watching you do your thing.
What was that thud sound?
The doctor's going to push him out of the way. As soon as he sees that come down, and he's not wearing a face mask, he's going to, like, out of the blue, basically just shove him.
Sure. Give me just a he's not.
I am
Just
build
call it
0.
a straight strength roll. Your build is 0. All right, so give me a strength roll with a penalty die. Yeah, so you kind of lunge at him to shoulder him out of the way, and he does rock back, and he wasn't ready for it, so he kind of stares back, but twists away and kind of shoves you off again, like, hey, the hell was that?
Don't breathe that dust, as he tries to shoulder and topples and falls onto his back, like, hand out, like, get out of the way. Don't breathe that. Oh, nice. Just a hot shot straight to the lungs. I love it.
Ain't gonna be good for you, but you clearly never worked on board a ship. You think that's worse than most of what we deal with?
Alright, but this is like, there's bad rust. It killed a bunch of people on that other ship. This is different rust.
The doctor pounds his fist to the floorboard and goes, I'm a doctor, damn it, under his breath.
What do you mean the rust killed a bunch of people?
There's a bunch of people over there. They basically turned to rust. There's like a special rust. Just trust me, we're looking for things to maybe counteract it, because
It's like a disease.
yeah. I mean,
Huh.
you can go over there and look, but trust me, you don't want to see it. It's pretty bad. Hey, you still have that jar with the finger in it?
No.
Oh,
And also, best case scenario, he doesn't believe you and goes about his day and then dies at some point. Worst case scenario, he believes you and now is like, oh fuck, I'm gonna die.
Just saying, just don't. I mean, I like him. He's nice. He's helpful. Just like, don't touch any of the rust. Don't breathe it in. You can ask the captain. Ask him why he's missing a finger right now.
Captain's missing a finger?
Oh yeah. He
The hell
got some of
that
that rust. Got some rust on his finger.
His finger rusted off?
No, the doctor cut it off. And then
And then it rusted off.
and then arrested.
This is just going poorly.
It's a mess.
All right.
That's why it's really important we find this lodestone. It helps with
So there was a
cure.
thump.
By thump.
Yeah. Denny's gonna take his pistol and make his way up the stairs.
Danny pistols don't work out on this stuff. You don't remember, but
Not the American way.
So Denny draws his pistol, and Lois reminds him that guns don't work on rust monsters. So he puts it down and drugs. Goes upstairs to look in to see what.
I think we all know there's nothing we can do about the monsters other than finish this finding ingredients to build our
All right.
banishing cake.
So with that, Denny will hopefully take his other foot off the stairs, turn to the crate next to him, and open that one.
Awesome. So you just pop the nearest crate, take the top off, look into it. This appears to be a crate full of fabrics.
Anything from like somebody mining, geology, something like that? Was there anything on the manifest from some place like that? Narrow it down.
Quartermaster shakes his head like, no. Didn't see anything geological on the manifest.
Settle for a magnet.
The doctor's
only
got
find the
scrambled
king.
to his feet by now and is wielding his shotgun, standing guard at the doorway.
Sorry, what was that?
So the doctor's gotten to his feet by now and is wielding a shotgun, standing guard by the doorway.
All right. Sounds good to me. What else are we doing?
Are we done down here? Because, I mean, we could spend a long time searching through crates.
Yeah, I think we're better off trying to compass, and if we can get something from a compass that isn't the compass for the ship, that'd be better. So I think at this point, finding lodestones would be cheaper than making magnets. I don't know my history on that.
I mean,
What
would
are the
you?
chances that
Like, if some guy has his own compass back in his footlocker, is that more likely or less likely to be a ship's compass?
I feel like an older compass would be more likely to be.
Yeah, I'd say that much you'd certainly know. That the older the compass is, the more likely it is to just be lodestone rather than something that has been magnetized.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we've got what we are probably going to get out of the hold. So why don't we go back up, talk to the captain, and ask him to put out word to the crew. If anyone has a compass, we need to see it up in the bridge. Because we don't want to, like, if everything goes well and we make it out of this, then we still have the horror of trying to get off the ocean, which is already bad. I'd like to not have to try and do that with no compass. Because once we put it back together, I'm not super confident in the compass.
That's if we can, if it doesn't consume the lodestone.
Right. So we'll put the word out. Anybody who's got a compass, picked one up at the last port, whatever.
The older the better.
All right. Denny, give me a luck roll. This was your idea.
That worked out. Oh.
Nice. So, none of the crew, at least admit to having a compass that they are willing to donate to the cause. But at some point, as you're talking to your compatriots about what you're looking for, just mention lodestone. One of the people, the captain had you do this in the galley rather than the bridge. He doesn't want most of the crew up tromping through the bridge.
Yeah.
One of the crewmen in the room kind of looks over and says, we use magnets more than lodestone now. Older the compass, more likely it is to have a lodestone. Bet you the oldest compass we have around here is the ship's compass over there. He points over at the Arpactic.
So, the two remaining items, something kingly and a lodestone, are likely to be over the Arpactic. The doctor's saying to the group.
Yeah, it's just getting dark.
Well, we can't do anything until tomorrow anyway, so why don't we
Go to sleep and go over to the ship in the bright morning light.
and then wait another night?
We're not doing anything.
Yeah, it's too
tonight.
late. We've already missed sunset tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, it's sunset, not sunrise.
Yes.
That's right.
Ritual
I was gonna say,
sunset.
just gonna skip it twice. Like,
The downside of that is it gives the fog more chance to come in. Likely the fog will be consuming us by morning, or if not tonight. And also, we may be down at least 2 crew members who I don't know are going to do anything against anything crazy, but still nice to have company.
Right.
But I'm good with that. The
I mean,
doctors.
ultimately, if you survive, you'll probably want someone to operate the ship.
Mhm.
Yeah. The doctor's extremely hesitant of going back to the Arpactic. He will do it, but he didn't have a great time over there last time. And intertwined in our travels up and down and around the ship, the doctor's like trying to recall Denny's memory of the thing, of the rust being, if he remembers any of it. And I'm sure Denny's like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? But he's trying.
Yeah, then he's just going to be absorbing information tonight, I guess.
So I
we
guess
could
we're
talk
bunkering
about our
down
mortal
somewhere.
essences. Was someone planning on snipping off one of their little toes or something?
Yeah, I mean, I assume like different parts of, your calf and whatever. Like,
Bone is going to be the hard part.
We've still got the bone in the jar. It's just the flesh.
That's true.
true.
There is bone.
Though I don't know it'll be there when we go back and check on it.
Well, the bones were still left over at the Arpactic.
Good
That
point.
was 12 years later, so
Good point. Flesh. There is a dead doctor over there who has not been turned to rust. He still has flesh on him.
I know, but that isn't he? I mean, been there for a while. Probably
Never
a
said
mummy.
living flesh.
I'm not looking to out-lawyer the elders. I don't think.
I'd much rather try that first. Well, I don't know. I suppose so.
I mean, we could just, grab one of his ears or something.
When Denny kind of winces at that.
I mean, like a living person can survive without their ear. It happens.
I know.
You've got a spare, right? I mean,
Right.
I already left my spare.
but you're still got. Like,
Right.
you're clearly getting by one down. What's two down?
That is
Right.
my spare.
I mean, I got a cousin, call him One Ear Jimmy because he's got like one ear.
That'll be no ear Denny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, Denny only has one ear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Lost it in the old.
I did not realize that.
He wears a lot of flap caps.
There you go.
With one flap removed so you can see his bad ear.
Awesome.
It doesn't get cold anymore, so I don't need that one.
Good lord.
I so want that to be true. I only have to keep this one warm. That's awesome.
So what are we doing? We're bunkering down for the night in hopes that we can do this during daylight.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if I was here, yeah, I mean, I would not want to go over there at nighttime. Hard enough.
As you head up on deck, it was dark in the hold. There were lanterns lit, keeping them lit all around the ship to provide some light. But you sort of expect the hold to be dark, and the lanterns are replacing the electric lights that actually aren't that much brighter than the lanterns to begin with. So that felt relatively normal. You get up on deck, and it's a whole different story. Fog has rolled in. You can barely see the moon through the fog, much less the stars. You look in the right direction, you can see sort of a silvery, pale circle, disc, actually, that is the moon. But in a lot of ways, it's only making it harder to see because it's highlighting the fog. Dotted along the ship, you can see the lanterns themselves, but the light isn't illuminating anything. It's not great up here. It's really very dark and quite foggy.
I think our best hold is up there on the bridge. Though I'm not
It's probably best to head back up there.
super excited to be surrounded by metal walls. that faces may come out of. Oh yeah, you don't remember that, by the way. There are faces coming out of metal walls.
What?
Have fun, sleep tight.
Why did we get on that ship?
Exactly.
Cool.
Why did we stop? I don't know. Let's go consult the captain, maybe take another limb.
Yeah.
But that's the doctor's best plan of action, is to go hold up in the bridge for the night. At least then maybe, I mean, it's foggy, so we probably don't have a very good view of anything, but better than ground floor.
As you make your way pretty slowly, actually, given the visibility, forward towards the conning tower, you hear from below decks just an incoherent shout, followed by Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Jesus fuck, Jesus Christ. And you hear feet pounding up the ladder up onto the deck. You see a crewman stumble out into the fog, kind of look around wild-eyed, and just fall to his knees. And you can hear him just start saying under his breath, Hail Mary, Mother of God, Lord, we would, just over and over, just reciting prayers.
Lois, that sounds like your shtick.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm assuming he saw something that makes him want to pray for his life. Maybe we should be careful.
Yeah.
So what, do we go in the direction of the screams, I guess?
I mean, he was screaming, so go down the ladder and see what's going on.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, Denny's headed down.
You head down the ladder, and you have to pass the crewman to get there. And he sort of looks up at you, but you're not certain whether he takes you in as a person or just visual input. But it does appear to sink in after a moment that you seem to be heading downstairs. And for a second, he almost tries to get up and start reaching out for you, but then looks at the stairs and just backs further away and drops back down to the deck. You reach the stairs, begin to go down them, presumably somewhat cautiously. And it doesn't take you a whole lot of time to see what presumably caused this. You see a person slumped against a wall, his lower half turned completely to rust. His upper half, you can see the rust crawling up it. And he's not moving right now, but you can see tears in his clothes and gash in his skin where it looks like he was clawing at himself.
Else? Is he all by himself?
Yep.
So what else is in this room?
Right now you're just in a hallway. You're in the other
Just a
hallway. It sort of
hallway.
matches. If you think about the hallway you were in first on the Arpactic, it's a lot like that. It's a hallway with rooms on either side. You're in the crew quarters currently.
All right. Lois
No,
runs
you are on
over.
the St. Celestine. Still, you just found a hallway down there, and there's a guy there half consumed with rust.
Lois is gonna careful not to get too close to him, but she'll break out the rosary and do her emergency last rites.
So you made it sound like he's basically dead and forgotten
done.
here, but if the doctor could do a quick perception of the situation, is there any way that he thinks that he could feasibly save him, knowing what he thinks he knows about cutting off the captain's finger? Or is it like breast height and like he's fucked?
Give me a medicine check.
God.
Oh. Yeah, he's dead.
Okay. The doctor's gonna stop at the bottom of the stairs or halfway down the stairs, wherever we made it to when we saw that, and if Lois is getting closer, he'll grab her arm as she walks forward and say, he's gone.
Alright, let me just finish what I'm saying.
I'm not going to stop you from talking.
Finish
No
up
one
and
has
then...
yet. Ha!
And then look around on the walls. Do you see any faces?
Give me a spot
Okay.
hidden. Whoever wants to look and see if they see any faces on the walls.
I need just like a rolling spot hidden for face look.
Nice. So, Danny and the doctor, you don't see any faces in the walls. But as you're looking around, you do notice that down the hallway, a couple of the kerosene lights at the end seem to be moving. You know, maybe those aren't kerosene lamps.
Oh, son of a bitch. The doctor knows what that is. Denny doesn't. The doctor's going to tighten his grip on Lois's arm and turn up the stairs and say, everybody the fuck out of here. We gotta go up. Because if I recall correctly, the monster on the other ship had glowing red eyes. Is that accurate?
Yeah, more glowing orange, kind of. Good comparison would be like very much the color of a kerosene flame.
Yeah, I fucking knew it. And he's not taking no for an answer. He's yanking people up the stairs as best he
Yeah,
can. He's not a
resistant.
big man.
Sure, so many
Go,
people aren't
go, go,
resisting.
go, go.
Easy enough.
Like, sprint through the fog, get the fuck out.
You pelt up the stairs out onto the deck. Fog is still swirling around you. You can't see anything, but you
Up the
also
other
don't
stairs.
hear anything.
Go up as many stairs as I can.
Well, right now you've
That
made it
was-
up, and you're on the main deck of the ship, kind of out in the open air.
So the goal is to get to where all the quarters are housed and up through the galleys and up into the bridge there. But as we're moving along, he's explaining that that's exactly what he presumes the face of the monster looked like on the other ship. Because the only people who saw it were myself and Denny has no recollection.
Yep.
So I'm the only person who saw it. But that's bad news. We need to get the hell out of here. Let's get as far from that area as we can. Because monsters. And if there's nobody saying otherwise, he's going to continue his way to the bridge as quickly as possible. Perhaps even tripping over himself in the fog.
Sounds good to me. Everyone going with him, doing other things?
Yes. He saw eyeballs, glowing eyes.
All right.
We're getting the hell out.
Yep.
Or moving kerosene lamps. I don't know. I'm not going to stick around and find out.
Probably not.
Cool. So you do that. You head through the crew mess, up the stairs, through the officers' mess, up through the officers' quarters, up onto the bridge. The bridge itself is lit by a single kerosene lantern hanging against one wall. It's casting flickering shadows off the equipment and whatnot into the room, but it's providing a little bit of light. Reflecting off the windows, making it a little hard to see through the glass. But then, other side of the glass is pretty much all fog anyway, so...
Love it. Well,
You don't see the captain or the other crew member up here at this point. The bridge appears to be abandoned.
I mean, we could just go to the quarters.
Perhaps it might be a good idea to get them and have them sleep in here with us. Is the jar with the finger still here?
Yes.
Or what used to be a finger? The doctor's going to collect that and put it back in his whatever he's carrying.
Not a problem.
I think it might be a good idea, I'll say to the group, to gather the captain at the very least and bring him up here. I don't think it's... I mean, I know it's not safe down there after what I just saw. And now he's got shotgun not only in hand and not only sitting at a rest, but like the opposite of gun safety.
Finger on the trigger, sweeping everything all the time.
And he's just...
It's especially any sort of bulkheads that might take on water if you shoot them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you're well above the waterline right now, at least.
True.
And Lois's dynamite is probably safely tucked somewhere.
Don't shoot Lois. If I had no other reason not to. I'll in historic fashion, make sure the women are safe and look at Denny and say, let's go get the captain.
Yeah. So do you want to stay up here?
I mean, do what you want. I was just doing what he would do.
Right.
I prefer we all stay together.
Okay. So let's go get the captain at least.
All right. Where are you headed to try and find the captain?
His quarters, probably.
Yeah, captain's quarters is one level down?
Yep. One deck down.
So we'll go one level down.
You do. You find the door to the captain's quarters. It's closed.
You're gonna knock and say, Captain.
No response.
All right. We're gonna try to open the door like it was a normal door that maybe isn't welded shut with rust.
Can we try like banging and then yelling for Captain before we
Sure.
go in and he shoots us? I mean, he could be sitting in there with the same thing, falling asleep with a shotgun on his lap.
All right.
Banging.
All right. You bang on the door, shout for the captain. Begin to swing open from the inside. You see the captain looking out at you, just in shirt sleeves and trousers, stocking feet. Looks out at you. Aye.
We've had a death. One of your crewmen, he's all rust.
No.
Same as the other ship. I think it might be best that we all spend a uncomfortable night, maybe on the bridge, someplace.
Have you told Dr. Ahrens?
No.
The doctor just looked at him.
We told our doctor. I'm sorry, we didn't think.
I'm thrilled you found out, Doctor. Congratulations. The ship's of deaths on the ship. You are not the ship's doctor. I'm sure you're a magnificent doctor in your own right. You cannot sign a death certificate on board my ship.
Okay, I'm sure there's a bunch of protocol. I'm just talking about immediate safety. We don't want your safety is important. You're the captain. You're going to be leading us home after we finish this and fix this. Also, we need you for the ritual if you're going to be the king, right? If we can't find any pictures of King Georgie over there.
So where is the body?
Down that carry ladder.
Down the ladder at the base of below the mess in the hallway? That's where I was visualizing. In the hallway. Yeah.
Oh dear. Alright. I'll post some boys down there to keep guard, keep watch. Make sure no one does anything untoward to the body. Ugh. Alright. Who's on the bridge right now?
Nobody.
What do you mean, nobody?
That's the first place we went and no one was there. So we came down here.
Who's supposed to be on duty?
The midshipmen. Supposed to have Boyette and Betancourt up there manning the bridge. The bridge can't be abandoned. Right.
Maybe we and them too.
Well, we're going back up to the bridge.
All right. Up to the bridge. Not that you know what to do if anything happens, but not that there's anything much to do with no power. Hi. All right. Put on me shoes. Find out what's going on. Go. Hold at the bridge.
Can do. And with that, we're headed up to the bridge.
All right. So you head up to the bridge. You hear from the next deck down the captain pounding on a couple doors. You hear some muffled voices. You recognize the captains. At least a couple other people. You can't make out what they're saying. It goes quiet. Some time passes. Captain comes back up to the bridge. No one's seen hide nor hair of either midshipman since third shift yesterday. I don't know where
It was
they
the last time they were seen.
They were. Last I saw, they were both manning the bridge after our meal. Hard to believe that was just yesterday. Not been seen since. At least not by anyone I've talked to yet. Alright. I'm going to man the bridge.
We're coming with you.
Well, he came up and met you on the bridge.
Okay.
Hi. You're welcome to stay. Don't touch anything. Not that any of it'll do anything anyway. Still, keep your fingers off it. He moves to the forward end of the bridge and takes a seat just short of where the wheel is, sort of crosses his arms and is just staring at or out the window in front.
The doctor's plan is just to post here for the night and guard what little he can see.
Morning.
Yeah, and in the meantime, explaining to the captain how dire the situation is. This is life or death for everybody on the ship, not just like, go sleep in your quarters in your trousers. He's not going to say it like that, because that'll piss the captain off, but he'll get the point across.
Captain, aye. What would you have him do?
If they could all fit up here, I'd have them come up here.
They can't. There's nowhere on the ship they can all fit at once. Where would you have them be?
Is the deck wood?
Yes.
I feel like every time we find somebody who's all rusty, they're touching metal.
Yeah.
So their walls and their bunks. I mean, it's all metal below there, right? It's all steel.
The decks are all wood throughout the ship till you get to the bottom hull. It's a steel-hulled ship, but the main decks are wood.
But they've got lots of walls closing them in.
Yes, and all the walls, all the bulkheads are metal, all the hatches are metal. It's just the decking itself is wood.
And then once you got a rust monster coming out, then nowhere to hide. I mean, I think the safest place would be out on the deck in the open air. But yeah, they can't all be there. Anybody else that's important, your midshipmen are gone. We don't know where they are, and we got to assume the worst. But maybe get the surgeon and your first officer, second officer, maybe. I don't know. Get your officers, wake them all up.
If you think the deck would be safest, probably fit most hands on the deck. You got 56 souls on board, not counting yourselves. I know 55. And I suppose 53 if we can't find the midshipmen.
Yeah, your best bet.
It's easier and easier to fit them on the deck, doesn't it? Well, if I'm asking them to all stay on the deck, I'll not be staying up here. And nor will you be. If it's to be on the deck to be safest, that's where we'll all be.
Sounds
he
good.
turns to speaking horn on a pipe that leads through the deck and below. Leans into it and begins speaking, not quite shouting, theater projecting, but not at a shout. All hands, assemble main deck. Pass the word. Leans back. There we have it. Everyone who heard that will come up on deck. Pass the word to anyone who wasn't in range. Everyone should be on the main deck within 5 minutes at the outside.
Let's make our way down. Doctor heads down.
Yep, Denny is down.
All right, you all head down through the quarters, officers' mess, crew mess, out onto the deck. As you get there, you see various other members of the crew filtering up from below decks. The few that were in the crew mess as you walked through come out. The one who came up shouting from downstairs is just kneeling on the deck, silent. Doesn't appear to register that people have begun coming out on deck, but he's also not really in the way. It takes a few minutes, but eventually people stop emerging and are sort of standing on the deck, milling around, looking uncertain. You can tell this isn't a military vessel. They're not standing in any particular ranks. They're just a bunch of guys at work, standing where they've been told to stand.
Captain, I'm not telling you how to do your job, of course, but I would recommend taking a head count.
Hey. Well done. All right. Everyone, stand still if you would. Or he kind of stops moving, looking around confused, but they're listening. They stand still. You can see the captain overlooking at the crew. The silently kneeling crewman at this sort of stands up, looks around, looks a little dazed, swaying a little bit, but is standing still like the rest of the crew. Captain turns to you. 49.
I suspect the importance of this gathering has set in. I think we should band together over the night here, roving watches.
All right.
How
First
many
things
people are
first,
we?
who's missing?
Yeah.
All right. Everyone, I'm about to call the roll. No one is to move or leave until the full roll has been called. Captain looks at them, makes sure they're staying where they are, and steps back into the conning tower. Everybody's kind of standing around, looking sort of confused. You hear one of them say, "Hey, Captain said don't move." You look around. And you see the crewman who had been silently kneeling and was now standing and silently swaying has made his way over to the rail and throws himself overboard.
Oh my god. If folks are running to the edge of the ship and grabbing on rails to look over, the doctor will do his best to contain them, but, again, not a big man.
Yeah, you begin to see a few people begin to move in that direction. What are you doing?
Touch the
You're
Tell them.
they're going over. They're most likely planning to throw life preservers or lines or something. What are you doing as they start running over that way? You don't have to do anything. You were just saying you wanted to potentially prevent them from grabbing things. So
Yeah. If they want to throw stuff, that's fine. If they want to look over, that's fine. But the doctor's doing his best to tell everybody not to touch the railing or really anything metal. But
Denny will also be trying like an intimidation roll, I guess,
sure,
to like demand that they not.
go ahead and roll intimidation.
nice.
Spend spend 2 or 3.
2. Just got to meet it.
I'll spend 2.
All right, so you spend 2 luck. Shout out at the crew. No one touch the rail. Don't touch the metal. The doctor, you're shouting much the same thing, just trying to convey. Do whatever you want, just don't touch the railing. Your words seem to get through. A handful of guys, about half a dozen, have run over to the railing, but they pull short as you're yelling and don't touch it. One of them does reach down to the deck, pick up a coil of coiled rope, and just sling it over the side, and kind of lean over, carefully not touching anything, awkwardly looking, and shouts down, "Grab the line! Grab the line!" You don't hear anything from below. The rest of the crew is standing around, looking like not really knowing what to do. A lot of them have just not moved at all, still following the captain's orders. Some of them have started to move to the one side, but have kind of stopped short and are clearly torn between going and trying to assist with the man overboard. But your warning has rung true, and the captain told them to stay put, and there are people already doing it. So it's a little tense on deck right now, but so far doesn't seem to have broken out into anything uncontrollable.
Do we see any of that black sludge that the note mentioned ate the other boat?
On deck, you don't. You want to go over and look in the water?
Fully.
Yeah.
I guess.
Want to? Yeah. You can go over to the railing and presumably not touch the railing. Give me a spot hidden, because you're just looking down at the water, but it's thick fog and it's night. You don't.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Nope. Okay, go ahead. Anybody's going to, yeah, please do.
Hey.
Nice. So yeah, you all look over the railing. You look down at the water. You don't see anything that strikes you as immediately suspicious. In fairness, it's night. It's foggy. The water's already pretty black. But it seems to be behaving like you'd expect water to. The few sounds you do hear are consistent with relatively calm water, just sort of lapping against the side of the ship. You don't see anything else. Most notably, you don't see a person.
And remind me, have we laid anchor, or are we just adrift next to this ship?
You don't know. You know that you had the crew had tied the two ships together and laid gangplanks across. You don't know if the Celestine dropped anchor or not.
Okay. The
Captain
doctor would try to.
comes back out holding a clipboard with some pieces of paper on it, looks around. Thought I told you lot not to move. A couple of the men begin explaining, like pointing over to the railing. Simmons just went over the railing, sir. What do you mean he went over the railing? Did a wave strike while I wasn't looking? What happened?
Simmons.
Sir, he just took a running leap and dove off the ship. He is the crewman who found the rusted man downstairs in the hallway. That may have been too much for him.
Ah, Christ. Captain rubs his forehead. All right. 48 then. You men on the line. Back onto the deck. If he's not caught the line as yet, he's not going to. We've no chance to see him in this weather. The 6 who had gone to the side of the ship. Don't pull the line back in. They leave it hanging over the side of the ship, but with a few backwards glances do make their way back to the main body of men on deck. And the captain begins to call the roll. Goes through it, eventually does identify the 8 individuals missing, including the 2 midshipmen. We don't know where any of these men are. Maybe threw themselves into the sea. Maybe made their way over to the Arpactic for reasons unknown. Maybe they're asleep in their bunks, didn't hear the calls. But I want everyone who's on deck right now to stay on deck. No one is to leave without my direct order. And if you do leave, if I do tell you to go somewhere, no one goes anywhere on their own. Pairs at least. I know we don't have many small arms on the ship. Those of you who have one, I'll ask you to accompany anyone who leaves once we start breaking out. By morning, we're going to need to be doing things around the ship again. And I'll trust you to be standing guard as people leave the area. But for now, for the night, everyone stays here. That understood by all here. Get a bunch of nods and a couple fairly naval-sounding aye captains and some yeses and a couple sort of grumbling shrugs and whatnot, but it seems like generally assent.
Can you give them one more rule? Tell them don't touch metal if they can help it, without gloves on.
Apparently, we're not to touch metal without gloves on.
Show them your finger.
Oh. I can't do it. Holds up his hand with the missing finger. This is what happened after I touched a rusty piece of metal. You want to keep all your bits about you? Keep them off the rust. Men look more confused than anything, but kind of... You hear a couple people who basically sound like every disgruntled employee you've ever worked with. Like, how does the captain expect us to get our job done if we can't touch the metal? It doesn't even make sense. Like, we don't have... Come on.
What if we're all above average?
Yep. But on the whole, it appears to be as well received as you could reasonably expect. You see people taking off jackets and whatnot, making makeshift bedrolls as they can, and sort of bunking down as best as possible.
Guess we just wait till morning.
Yeah, the doc's not going to sleep tonight.
Sure. Who is trying to sleep? Anyone?
Lois is.
Adele will try and sleep. She'll have to do this ritual at sundown.
Good call. Denny, you staying up or bedding down?
He's going to.
You can't remember the last time you had a night's sleep.
Yeah, maybe he'll bed down then. He doesn't feel so good.
Fair enough. So, that leaves the doctor up on deck. The captain, true to his own instructions, took 2 members of the crew and went up to the bridge. The rest have largely settled onto the deck. You can hear some of them talking about the stuff that they should be doing. Third watch is still a watch. But at the same time, with the engines out, none of the electrical's working. Much of what they would be doing isn't really possible. A couple of them are, sounding like, situation may not be great, but I don't mind the night off. Eventually it gets quiet. And by this time, it's already, you're getting into the wee hours. Lots been going on here. It's probably getting on towards 1 o'clock by the time all this is wrapped up. But you find yourself standing on the deck, holding your shotgun, fog rolling over and past the ship, the moon slowly drifting through the sky, its faint silvery light sort of sifting down through the fog, water lapping gently against the side of the ship. Go ahead and give me a listen roll.
We're lulling him to sleep.
Nice.
Nice roll. From somewhere, it sounds like somewhere beneath, and you feel it in your feet almost more than you hear it. There's a thud. 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 Thud.
Is it moving or is it staying in one spot?
It's hard to tell. Like I said, you're almost feeling it through your feet more than hearing it.
Gotcha. Again, I've got this thing cocked and ready to go. Well, cock a shotgun, but while I'm looking out into the distance, basically, I'm gonna lean over to the closest guy that's awake, and who's also is everybody just trying to sleep, or are there folks that are patrolling like I am?
You're the only one that appears to be awake and patrolling. Everybody else is taking the chance to try and get some shut-eye. You're hard-pressed to imagine everybody is sound asleep, but you're the only person who's reacting right now.
Love that. I'm gonna basically lower my breathing and just try to focus in on that noise and see if I can hear it getting closer, if I can hear it moving, if there's any other noises outside of the ones you just described. But I'm also going to be ready to wake the closest person that's in the crew near me.
Sure. So you sort of still yourself, try and pay the closest attention you can. Sound stops.
Yeah, I'm not even resting a little bit. I'm fully on edge, hairs on the back of my neck standing. Just 99% of me is focused in on the noise. The other 1% is focused on my finger that is near the trigger. I'm also aware that friendly fire may occur if somebody were to be wake up and be where the hell is everybody, and stumble on deck. So my reaction is if there are floating lights coming towards me. But other than that, that's basically what I'm doing until people wake up or something else
You don't
happens.
see any floating lights or anything. So, that's nice. A little bit more time passes. Relatively uneventfully.
How well is my visual over the sleeping individuals? Can I see them, or are they so spread out that their fog is incurring?
I mean, they're packed pretty close together up here, but your visibility is shit. Like, you can see the nearest few in any direction, but right now you're not able to see more than, 5 yards at best.
So, for example, if somebody was to get up in the middle of the night and walk off on the other side of the pack, my only clue would be listening.
Yep.
Good thing I'm focused on that right now, I suppose.
Yep.
I will continue to do so until hopefully the damn sun comes out.
Some more time passes. You figure it's got to be getting close to dawn. You feel you've been out here for a while. You said the time is reasonably good. But before the sun has a chance to come up, you hear a creak, groaning noise from the front of the ship, other side of the conning tower from where you are.
I damn sure ain't going to inspect that myself, but I also realize the toll of no sleep or interrupted sleep that it takes on somebody. So I suppose I would wake one of the folks in the party here. I don't know who it would be. Probably Lois or Denny. Who's closer to me?
Your guys' call. Where are you bed down?
Probably Denny. Lois is probably closer to the inside.
Gun still pointed, eyes still scanning what visibility I do have. Tap Denny on the arm or the chest or the head or something and say, "Get up."
Denny will get up, whisper quietly what's going on.
We've got some movement on the front of the ship. I don't. It's creaking and groaning, and then still himself so that Denny can also hear if it's still happening.
Yep. So you sort of quiet down. And it had stopped for a little bit. You heard that noise, and then there was nothing else roaming. But now, conveniently, you do hear it again, kind of sound.
You hear that?
Yeah, I can hear that.
What do we do about it?
I don't know what that's going to match up to from whatever happened on the other side on the other boat. But
This is towards the bow.
Yep.
The doctor genuinely has no idea what to do about it. Then he could just say, ignore it, or he could say it's worth investigating. The doctor is just kind of in reactionary about it at this point.
right. Denny will move sort of towards one side of the boat so that he can see straight through, basically as far forward as he can,
Sure.
without going closer or getting on the rail or anything.
Yeah, I mean, you can put yourself in a position where you would have a clear line of sight to the front of the boat, except for the fog.
Right. Yeah, that's what Denny's gonna do.
Yeah, you don't see anything there. You just see the fog rolling across between you and the front. The sound has stopped again.
I don't know if there's a regular. I don't know how likely it is we're going to hear more. So I guess then he'll just sort of hold position, watching.
Cool.
if this is what we're gonna do, then feel free to go back to sleep. The doctor will say I can focus my intention over here.
Then he'll shrug and say, I probably got all the sleep I was going to get.
Fair enough. The doctor
Maybe
will
you
turn
can
back.
go get some shut-eye. I don't know.
No chance. He's like, every time he closes his eyes, he sees those little red, or I guess orange, flares of eyes. So it's best to just keep his eyes open.
So it's like this that the last hour or so of night passes. Eventually the sun does begin to come up.
Do the creaking noises continue to happen, or was that the end of it?
That was it. That's all you heard. Just those two. Sky begins to lighten off to the east. Fog is still heavy, but at least things are more illuminated. You can see a little bit better now. Your visibility is still pretty limited, but instead of just a couple yards and nothing, you're at least able to see shapes a good way out. You can see sort of towards the front of the ship. You can kind of see where it should be and see some deck out there. The rest of the crew is starting to get up, grumbling and moving, but waking up.
As they wake up, I would revisit with Denny and see if he wants to go investigate that. You know, whatever it was may have left some sort of trace.
Yeah, I think if we're going to do that, we should tell the crew so that everybody sort of knows and is ready.
Yeah,
And then
gather the rest of
night
it.
and
Sure.
go around.
I mean, I'm awake too.
Yeah, might as well gather
Adele and
everybody.
I mean, we're awake.
Should we all stick together?
Should all stick together.
We will make our way towards the tower on one side.
So did it sound like a mechanical sound? Or was it like a
Sounded like
Animal.
the creaking awe of
Person.
wood. And I don't remember if there's metal
Sounded-
involved.
Yeah, it sounded more metallic than wood, but it did sound like
Okay.
material under stress.
Okay. The doctor will convey that noise as best he can, leaning on Denny's expertise of metallic juncturing. I'm sure you heard a good bit of metals being stressed during the war.
So you head forward, the four of you, to take a look. And as you get to the front, you see a section of railing on the front has been displaced, has been bent in, and is wrapped around what looks like someone's head. There is a body primarily composed of rust hanging by its head from the railing onto the deck.
so the railing is like it moved or something, or
Can't tell what happened. The situation right
If you
now
were-
is what looks like railing comes out and is wrapped around for like 2.5 times around the head of a body-shaped rust.
Is the head also rust, or is the
Yep.
head still a face?
Nope, all rust.
is it hanging like, I assume if your head was in the railing, you'd be laying on the ship, or at least you
Yeah,
wouldn't.
by hanging, I don't mean like suspended dangling in the air. It's just
Okay.
if it wasn't being held up, it would slump further to the deck. Is all I meant. It's kind of like hung there, but most of it is on the deck itself.
This may seem arbitrary, but is the slack of the body consistent with it being not rust when it was hung, or is it like a plank? Like, was this person not fully rusted when they were hung?
That's. I feel like I should have you roll something for that, but I'm not sure what. I guess roll medicine. You keep dancing with failure on this, man.
Which is a tough thing to do at 96.
It's kind of impressive in its own way. It's not entirely clear either way. It's certainly not stiff, as if somebody took a statue and propped it and then bent the railing around it. But it's also not completely limp, not like somebody took a rag doll and did the same thing. So it's a little hard to tell. One possible explanation would be if it were a person, they may have been stiffening themselves. It could be postured based on muscle tension.
Gotcha. And then finally, is this... I presume it's not, but is this in any way identifiable as the person that was below deck that was rusting from the hips up?
You can't identify anything. Of everything you've seen on the Celestine right now, this is far and away the most rust you've seen. This is more akin to the bodies you saw in the Arpactic that were hard to identify as bodies if you hadn't seen a pile of mold that turned out to be a body.
Gotcha. The doctor will surmise if he is intelligent enough. Let me just check on this real quick. The doctor will surmise that this was one of the midshipmen, perhaps, that may have been infected earlier on and has had more time to oxidize, as it were.
I don't know that it needs time. I think wherever this thing manifests itself, all you have to be doing is touching a railing, and it can just get you like that. I know some people might be coming down with it from ingesting it or breathing it in or getting a cut.
Did they say in the notes from the other ship that there was a 3-day period, or is that...
I mean, first person who, the Jimenez, the mechanic, the engineer, I mean, it was the same morning for him.
So far, every single one of these people has been alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, this person wasn't supposed to be alone.
I don't know where they were when we gave that instruction, but
Well, yeah, this could have been one of the 8 people who were missing.
So, if we do a head count and we've got the same number of people, then it has to be one of the missing 3 people, basically. I guess there's only 2 missing people.
Oh, there's more than that.
There's 8 missing people,
Yeah.
Oh, right.
including the 2 midshipmen.
Yeah, that's right. Shit.
You could do another head count to see, or another head count and roll call to see who this is and where their buddy was.
Yeah, we may want to have the captain formally assign buddies. So maybe we can have a quicker way to identify that someone's gone missing.
Maybe we need to take a field trip up to the front of the ship and say, okay, everybody, this is why you don't go anywhere alone. This is why you don't touch metal.
Pass
touch
out the
metal-
field trip t-shirts, so everyone's got the same shirt on.
If you touch
Also,
metal,
a moment of silence, because
your head is going to get wrapped in the side of the ship. Yeah, I'd like to hear the head count, see if we're missing someone from the group that was on deck, or if it was one of the 8, and then head over to the Arpactic, probably.
yeah, that's a good plan.
So you begin to make your way back towards the deck. You get there and you see people are up and milling around. And then you hear someone just shout, "Doctor! Where's the doctor? We need the doctor!"
Not knowing he's going to assume that they're talking about him because, he's a doctor, and anytime anybody says doctor, it's obviously him. So he'll go at a brisk walk, maybe even a jog, over to where he hears the noise.
Sure, you get there at about the same time Dr. Ahrens does. And you see on the deck a man laid out, covered from head down to about mid-torso in mold. You can roll me a spot hidden. Anybody who's there can roll me a spot hidden.
I'm so lost
Just
as to how this shit is
a guy.
happening. Adele, we need your spot hidden. You gotta get it for
Assuming
us.
you went.
Oh no! I thought that was a 1.
Ooh.
Huh.
Oh.
Thanks, Adele.
So
100.
here's what's going to happen here. You do, in fact, spot the hidden thing. By the body's right hand is rolled open tin of what looks like they were probably beans that is covered with mold inside the can. But I will also need you to make a sanity roll.
It's threshold 5.
You take 1 point of sanity loss as the idea of eating beans that mold so fast they consume you disturbs you more than slightly. I don't know how else to make a fumble on a spot hidden. Like, that's a tough one to really assign a consequence to. I gotta do something.
While running to view the body, tripped and fell, and just face planted on the deck.
Right? Like, I already hit you with a cut glove and getting rust on your finger. Like, I can't do that again. You can't just suddenly, and you touch the body and your glove is breached again and you have mold on you. Like, that's so.
To be fair, those beans do sound pretty gross.
Oh, they are. It's terrible. This is Tupperware you would just throw out. There's no washing this. This is right in the bin and we're done.
Man.
We're gonna get to England and they're gonna give her beans on toast and she's just gonna have to go use the bathroom.
Oh yeah. Had you got temporary insanity, you would have developed a bean phobia. I had that queued up. You had failed your sanity check. Anyway.
Oh my god, and all those British children want bean feasts. What would I do?
One of those. So, Dr. Ahrens looks at you, Doctor, and says, This is the same mold, isn't it?
It appears so. And furthermore, the beans are molded. He is molding from the top down. Perhaps the consumption of these beans is causing his moldiness. Medical term.
He kind of looks at you, takes a step closer, looks around. You're relatively isolated, actually, by the fog. It's the four of you and the doctor and the corpse. And a crewman you don't recognize standing there holding his hat in one hand, who's presumably the person who called for the doctor in the first place. But Dr. Ahrens comes over towards you and kind of speaks in a low voice. It's one thing to tell the men not to touch rust. It's another thing to tell the men they can't eat.
I mean, I'm not trying to incite panic or disdain, but I mean, you see what I'm seeing, right?
Yes? You're not wrong. That's the obvious explanation. But I don't know what I don't know what the reaction's going to be if we tell them there's no eating.
The doctor will fumble with his morality, as he does, and will roll a dice to see if he's moral or immoral. And as he does, lands on immoral. And will also, in a hushed tone, hopefully hushed enough to not catch the ear of the crewman standing by, say, we should keep this under wraps. You're absolutely right. No need to incite panic. Keep this between the two of us.
Doctor nods. All right. We'll tell the captain, of course, and it'll be ultimately his decision, but I don't think anyone's served by driving the crew to panic and mutiny. All right. I'll take care of this. If you want to go talk to the captain, I'll take care of this. And he kind of nods his head towards the one other crewman who's still standing there.
Von Oyster will nod and look at the rest of the group and say, I think it's to the captain we go.
Yep, and then to the other ship.
All right. So you make your way forward, and you see the captain coming out, telling everyone to assemble on the deck, and that he's going to take the roll again. He's got his clipboard in his hand, is looking at, waiting for the milling to kind of stop and people to get in one spot and stay there.
Von Doyster's gonna bring to his attention before he starts to call roll. Can he see the body with mold on it from here?
Nope. Too much fog.
Okay.
He would have an eye line on it if it weren't quite so foggy. You can really see that there are some shapes back there. There's no way he can make out the details.
Was he briefed? I mean, I don't even know. Would we know if he was briefed on the previous moldy body brought on the ship from the other ship?
I mean, that's up to you. Do you think the doctor or any of the crew that helped him would have told the captain or not? You don't know. It hasn't come up in conversation yet.
I'd ask. Yesterday when we were checking in on the Arpactic, did the ship's doctor brief you on what was brought back?
Doc Aarons? Aye. Said he found a corpse of a man killed by some kind of fungus.
Well, I fear we've had an incident. Well, we've had a few incidents over the evening here. The first being that particular strand of mold. It's essentially consumed one of the crew. Dr. Aarons is handling the situation, as it were. We've come to a conclusion not to spook the crew, but you need to know. Our professional opinion is that the consumption of beans, probably not moldy when he was eating them. Perhaps they were, though I suspect he's not going to eat moldy beans, is the cause of this. So do with that what you will. Don't want to incite a panic. And then before he gets a second to contemplate or answer, I'm going to go straight into the second incident. I would suggest that none of the crew travel to the front of the ship. I think we found one of the missing crew, perhaps. It's a gruesome sight, and he's going to look around at the rest of the group here for some help. And if nobody's going to help him, he'll just grit into it and explain the situation, that one of the crew's head is wrapped around by the railing of the ship, and he's fully rusted.
Captain takes a deep, long breath. Right then. Alright. I'm going to take the roll now. And we'll go from there. Let's find out first whether we've lost anyone we don't yet know about. Turns away from you back to the crew and begins doing exactly that. Counting off hands. Who did you leave by the body?
The one with mold?
Yeah.
Doc Aaron's.
So I come up with 44.
There was another crew member by the body with the doctor. I don't know if he's made it back to roll. That might skew the number.
Alright. Then we've not lost anyone new. Which leaves the question of who the man is attached to the bow.
I fear there's no identifying him unless, his clothes were also completely covered in rust.
Yeah, you didn't see anything other than rust. This was just a rust shape.
Yeah, so I'll explain. There's no process for identifying this. He pauses, man. If that's what we can even call it now.
Well, I was likely to lie when I wrote the letters anyway, so I suppose it doesn't matter.
I guess just double down on warning everyone to be as careful as they can. We were planning on going back to the Arpactic. What is it? The other boat.
The Arpactic.
Arpactic. And looking for a couple more things. Lodestone in the compass and maybe a picture of the king.
Hey!
Can try and keep as many people alive on the ship until sunset. There's the moldy bean incident. Maybe there's some rationing that's going to happen. I'm not going to tell you how you do your job, but maybe there's a way to keep people from getting into the food as much today. It might save a couple lives. Maybe extra rations of rum, I don't know.
Huh. You can always drink your dinner, they say. I suppose.
While you inspect the food stores looking for any contamination,
I suppose
just
I keep them out of the galley for a day. If the hope is we have this fixed sometime tonight. I'm good thought on the ship's compass from the Arpactic. Old ship of the Royal Navy like that. They were using lodestone, their compasses longer than most others. It's cheaper, you see, and well, the military must operate to a budget, mustn't they?
Benefit.
Well, I wish you luck. Would you like me to send any of the men with you?
I was just thinking about that. Who on the crew has any sort of experience with firearms? Exceptional experience. Although firearms aren't very helpful, but it's always nice to have some extra thing shooting.
Or maybe someone who would know where things are, where a compass would be. You'd think it'd be on the bridge, but I don't know.
And send you with someone who knows the layout of the ship, certainly.
Yeah.
I don't know that anybody's got exceptional experience with firearms. Most everyone's fired a gun in their time. I could certainly ask if anybody has infantry experience, though we don't get many of them on board ship. Most of the ex-military folk we get are sailors, obviously, who, for the most
We've
part,
got our own.
perfect.
Well, yeah, if you think of somebody who you think would be a good fit, who knows the layout of the ship, who can shoot a gun, and we'll meet in an hour.
That I can do.
The plane.
I'll send you with Mr. Gilraith. He's a bosun's mate. He's a bit of a naval historian, as it were. He's familiar with the with the Tweed, that class of ship. He can help you navigate around it. Surely.
Excellent.
Luckily, I know right where he is, don't I? Mr. Gilraith, a moment, if you would. You see, short, surprisingly portly man kind of make his way out of the crowd, come out, sort of red-faced, thick, dark hair. Comes forward, stands there, hooks his thumbs into his waistband. Hi, Captain. What can I do for you? Captain looks at him, looks at you, Mr. Gilraith. These lot going to head back over to the Arpactic. Need to pick up some things, I think. May help with the current situation. I'm hopeful they're right. I'd like you to go with them, as you know the layout of the ship, where to find everything, better than anyone else we've got aboard. I'll not order you to do it, but I'd much appreciate it if you take it on. Are you willing, man? Gilraith kind of eyes all of you, looks back at the captain, back at you, sort of nods. You say this will help the ship?
We hope so.
What is it that we're looking for?
Looking for the ship's compass. And looking for a picture of the king.
All right. Suppose we can find that. Most like. Depends on, I suppose, the amount of decay and whatnot. They'd normally have a portrait of the king in the stateroom. Ship's compass should be on the bridge. If you're planning to bring the compass back with you, you're going to want to bring some tools. It's going to be affixed to the main chart table, which is itself then built into the deck effectively.
No, we don't need the whole compass. We just need the lodestone inside of it.
Ah,
So,
that we can
tools.
do. All right. Fair enough. Well then, shall we?
If everyone's ready.
All right. You gather your things, including one Mr. Gilraith, and begin to make your way over to the Arpactic. Step onto the gangplanks. You're a bit more practiced now. This was nervy the first couple times, but at this point, you feel like this is the least of your problems. Easy enough to get yourself over to the other ship, and you set foot on the deck of the Arpactic again. It may just be your imagination, but you can't help but feel that as soon as you get aboard the ship, the fog seems thicker, the day seems not quite as bright. This isn't helped, of course, by the fact that no one spent time lighting or hanging lanterns on the Arpactic. Gilraith looks at all of you and says, well, if we're here for the ship's compass, we'll want to be heading up to the bridge. It's very similar to the layout of the St. Celestine. I can certainly lead you there. Begin.
Well, we've been there before.
Perfect.
We'll do that first.
Excellent. Then away we go. He starts heading off to the conning tower. I assume you all.
And does he have gloves on? Does he have a face covering?
He is
at all?
wearing neither a face covering nor gloves.
All right. I'm not going to say anything then because I don't want to worry.
Sorry.
So he semi-leads you. You obviously know where you're going. Up to the bridge of the Arpactic, which is still a mess, just like it was, last time. But he points forward a little ways. You can see the chart table a little back from the front of the bridge. It has a large, side plate sized compass built into the table. You get close to it and you can see the glass is cracked, as all the dials and windows in here are. But the needle, as far as you can tell, still appears to spin freely. You can see it move a little bit as you're looking at it.
Start disassembling it and see if we can get whatever's under the needle. Take a look at it.
Do you suspect? I'll ask the individual we're with. I can't remember his name. What was his
Gilreath.
name?
Gilray.
Gilreath. Do you suspect this is lodestone or?
I expect it is. Most ships of this era, lodestone in the main compass. Least expensive option at the time the ship was made. Royal Navy took some time to switch to magnetized iron. So if it's lodestone you're looking for, it's a pretty good bet. Can't be completely certain. You never know. Sometimes ships got refitted with things. Sometimes captains would bring in their own gear. But best odds, yeah.
Get to it then.
So, excuse me. Yeah. So you start dismantling the ship's compass. Are you trying to be in any way careful, or are you just trying to break into it?
Trying to be somewhat careful. Yeah.
Alright. Then give me a mechanical repair roll.
Can you? No. Mechanical repair. To the left. There you go.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is fairly easy. There are a couple screws, and this doesn't seem affected by rust at all. It dawns on you that whatever else may be true of it, however unique this particular corrosion might be, it does appear that it only affects ferrous metals. It only affects things that can rust. This is brass and it's got a little bit of patina on it, and it's got some dents, and the glass itself is cracked. But this hasn't corroded shut or anything, so you bring some tools to it, you begin unscrewing the dog's holding it down, lift the cracked glass off, manage to lift the needle and the calibrated dial off, and sure enough, you see floating in a shallow dish of oil what looks like a chunk of lodestone with a pin rising from its center.
Nice.
All right.
One down, one to go.
Take that. Put it in the bag. All right. Stateroom, you said. Let's go find a picture of His Majesty.
That'll be our best bet. So he leads you down a deck to what on the St. Celestine is just the officer's mess. On the Arpactic, it's split into two areas. There's the officer's mess, and then across the bulkhead, there's a smaller room, clearly designed for receiving high-ranking officers, dignitaries, whatnot. You walk in, and you see a long, for the space, you're aboard ship, everything's kind of cramped and small, but for the space, a relatively long table of polished mahogany, looks in pretty good shape, honestly, Walls are still rusty. A few wooden chairs scattered around the table. Kind of look around. Gilreath looks at the room, looks off to one end of it, points at it and says, well, normally Portrait of the King would be hanging there, but I don't see one there. Next best option, I think. Probably the armory. They'd often have the king watching over the guns, as it were. Yeah.
Where would the armory be in
It's
the
going to be
ship?
below deck.
Yeah. Below decks, about 2/3 aft. Short of the engine
Up
room.
here.
All right, let's check it out.
Fair enough. Pulls out a flashlight. Hope you all brought flashlights. Or lanterns. Torches. You know. Light. You got a lantern?
Yes.
So Adele lights her lantern. Gilreath
Okay.
leads you to a hatch you've been down before. Opens it and begins climbing down the ladder into a fairly familiar corridor. You're following much the same path you did in your first visit to the ship, but this time you walk past the various doors to a connecting hallway, take a turn, open another door, and walk down another ladder to the next area down, on the level of the engine room, where you saw the blown-in bulkhead and Pthallech's name. But he stops you short of that, takes you to a room alongside, short of the engine room, along the center line of the ship. This will be the armory. This will be where they had all the small arms. And then just forward of here, kind of gestures to one side, is the magazine. That's where they'd be storing ammunition for the deck guns. That'll be the next best place if we strike out here. Well, let's take a look. Spins the wheel on the hatch, hauls it open. See him play his flashlight around inside the room. Looks. Wall starts to cock his head. I don't see it. And walks down. Oh! Hang on, we might be in luck. Looks like it may have just fallen off the wall. Starts to walk into the armory, shining his light forward. What's everyone else doing while he's going to retrieve the picture?
I'll light in where he's going, trying to see what he sees.
So you shine the light in. You can see there are racks along the walls that you'd expect to have like rifles slotted in them. They're empty. You can see spaces beneath the racks that are about the right size for ammo boxes. You see some ammo boxes there. They're all rusted, but there are slots also empty where some of them have clearly been removed. Excuse me. You can also see some kind of work table on the far end of the room with some kind of equipment on it that's so rusted it's just lumps of corrosion. It's hard to tell what it was. But you can see what he's looking at. Behind that, down on the floor, looks like there's a gilt frame, as if it may have fallen from the wall and slid behind the table.
The doctor will
Hello there.
follow him in.
Yep.
Again, if I need to remind, shotgun, fully prepared to blow a hole in something.
Excellent. Lois, Adele,
Shining-
out in the hallway shining lights in. Adele, you've got the lantern. You holding the lantern out? You've got the lantern. You holding the lantern out, going into the room, staying in the hallway? And so Adele and Lois are out in the hallway. You can see Mr. Gilreath go to the back and kind of reach over the table and pull up on the frame. Looks slightly surprised. Says, "Look at this. We're in luck. This is in fact a portrait of King George V. This is what you came here for?"
Yeah, the doctor will hold out his hand. That's
Perfect.
absolutely what we'll do.
Gilfrey moves to hand it over to you. I would like everyone to make a dexterity check, including Mr. Gilreath.
Dexterity. Wow, that is my least. Come on, baby.
Yes. 1 second.
Get that fruit that you get.
Or put it back in the fridge if you're not hungry.
All right, what do we all have? And oof. Okay, so Lois and the doctor get to decide where they want to be as the hatch slams shut.
Lois would have been outside.
Dex roll, so you can decide. You'd have a chance to dive into the room or stay where you are. Similar to the doctor, you can decide as you see the hatch, you are able to move fast enough that you could dive out through it before it closed. Denny and Adele are
Denny-
stuck, and Mr. Gilreath, as it turns out, are stuck where they are,
Denny was in the room or out of the room?
in the room.
Fuck.
Denny and Mr. Gilreath are stuck in the room. Adele is in the hallway. The two of you get to decide where you want to be.
Yeah.
Was there any indication? Is there something like something's happening in the room? Something's happening outside the room?
You have no idea, no time to figure it out. You just catch that the hatch is starting to slam shut, and you can dive one way or the other.
We in.
Doctor staying in the room.
Outside.
All right. Everybody stays where they are. The hatch slams shut. Luckily, you have light on each side. As the hatch slams, the vibration shakes powdered rust off the ceiling, and it just filters down through the air. Doctor, you hear through the walls a familiar noise. Thud. Thud. Thud.
He's gonna shout, "We need to get the hell out of here now!"
Adele and Lois, you hear the same sound, obviously, and you turn towards the bow of the ship, which is where it feels like the noise is coming from. And you can't see anything for a second. Thud. Thud. After a moment, you can just make out two orange lights moving slowly towards you. And that's where we'll end it tonight.
Oh my god.
Would have gone inside the room.
Well, they can't all be good ideas. On the plus side, you have the possibility of leaving.
Like to leave Adele alone. The monster.
Well, Adele, you and
you
Adele
and
are
Adele are
outside.
both out in the hallway. So you...
Right, I'm just saying if I would have jumped into the room, because
yeah.
I had a choice. Adele didn't have a choice. Adele was going to be stuck outside
And
no matter what. So
to be
at least
honest,
no one.
if Denny was not in that room, I would have left Guilfoyle.
Yeah. I mean, the monster's coming. Probably. I mean, maybe it's just orange lights. You don't know. But you two can run away.
Survivor. Yeah. Two lamps.
Without the king. The king is in the room.
Maybe it's just, you know, 2 motorcycles with headlights. You know, I get that sometimes you think you see a car, but it's actually a pair of motorcycles. Could be much the same thing, really.
You know, when I think of motorcycles, I think of thud, thud, thud.
Yeah, it's a Harley tuned way down.
Actually, a Roadrunner.
3 kobolds in a trench coat holding lanterns.
Yep. All right. Yeah, we'll call it here for the night. I'm going to be on the road again next week. It's been a while since I've run a Pathfinder session, so I'm inclined to try and do that, but it is easier to move Cthulhu around, so I will figure out what kind of prep I do during the week, what I'd have to bring in each case, and I'll make a call then, not if we continue this until I'm back home with all my resources at hand, or if I can have enough with me to follow up there so we're not leaving, you know, our poor heroes stuck in a dungeon at loose ends for weeks on end. Anyway, yeah.
Really story, so
Thank you all for putting up with the late start and bumpy ride a little bit here, but
nah, sorry.
you know,
It's all good. Same amount of fun.
excellent. In that case,
Start because we got to drive all the way there tomorrow. So.
so long. We'll see the 2 of you tomorrow morning. Good luck with the drive. We'll be here. We'll have a nice toasty breakfast and wait for you.
Awesome.
We're meeting at the Ren Fair, though, right?
I think so. Katie is nodding. We all have phones. We can text and coordinate as need be.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
At the Ren Fair.
All right.
I won't have any
All right,
phone
Joe.
takes until you get there.
Sounds good.
Night, guys.
So long, all.
Night.
Good night.
Mom,
Good night.
Bye.
I don't know, babe. Go tell us when we leave.